TRIP connects individuals and families with resources and knowledge to live in desirable homes and create vibrantly sustainable communities. We partner with community leaders who invest in their neighbors, businesses, homes, and help shape the economies of Troy, the capital region, and beyond. Local leaders like Deacon Jerry and Elvira Ford personify this. TRIP and RCHR are proud to acknowledge them as this year's community partners in positive youth development.
Journey began after we transitioned to New York from Florida, where we're originally from. I had originally moved up here while Jerry was serving time in prison, and I came to live with some family, non-biological family, and I was coming to, search for a new beginning, a new start, a new environment to raise our son. Once he got out of prison, we went through all the channels of trying to, keep things on the right track, going through social services, taking advantage of the resources to empower ourselves and build ourselves to maybe one day become homeowners. Our landlord had mentioned that he was selling the building, and little behold that we knew would happen is that building would be sold to us. There were some things that we were working on where we still had to, clean up, like preparing our credit for review and going through all the logistics. There's so many steps when it comes to home ownership.
Going to, having food stamps and going to the WIC program and going to like the Unity House and going to CEO to the food pantries, all those different things, like those supports help us realize that like we could really do it. Like all of those steps were I think essential. They were essential for us to get to where we were.
So, after we took those steps to further our education, and the landlord was still in the process of, putting the house on the market, now it was time for action. It was time for us to do the steps that we needed to do. We needed so much guidance and hand-holding to how to make that happen, but we went to TRIP and did the paperwork. We sat down with someone. They pulled our credit. They went over everything with us individually.
Undescribable, really, to be honest with you. It was so many emotions. The things that we've experienced in life, it just kind of still felt surreal. And I think we got down to the last, document and we signed it. And it was just like, wow. And then I can't remember the counselor we were working with. She walked over and handed me a tool bag. So I got my own tool bag, my first tool bag, and it had like my wrenches and my screwdrivers and all that stuff. So I was just like ecstatic. So not only did we close, we got our keys, but then we got the tool bag.
Tools.
I feel that what motivates us to like bridge the gaps in our community and connect and partner with neighbors and youth and programs and organizations is that, we truly embrace ownership. So we're homeowners, and now our children are here. We have children that are born in the city and attend school, and right where we live around the corner from our house is our church. And so like we have a true sense of ownership. Like we've seen like neighbors move in and out, renters, and we're the ones who are in the neighborhood, who have been there, and kind of tell people what the neighborhood is like, and introduce people to other people when they come on the block. Inside of me, I know I can't just sit and see an issue and not want to address it or not want to participate, especially when my own family members are involved. So we, started volunteering with the Little League, and then that wound up turning into Team Hero.
That's what the opportunity at Troy Central Little League, opened us up to just make a change in every encounter, every relationship, make a positive impact, because we know positive relationships and support systems matter. So
and that one decision to take it a little bit further than the baseball field is what urged us to start Team Hero, and we started doing just a Friday night youth session. We used to call it Friday night praise party. So we would come in, we would do pizza and iced tea from like Price Chopper, and then we would just play some music, and I would talk to them about some of the things I encountered in my life.
You know, because these were kids from our Black and brown community, so
growing up in North Central,
yeah,
so they're seeing
they wanna relate to things that look like them, sound like them. So, you know, that's how we were able to connect with them through the music, the rap music. My husband used to do gospel rap, but it made those kids, you know, within our reach. So we were able to check in with them, and they were able to follow up with us through the connection of the Friday night praise party, because that's what we had. We meant getting them off the street, you know, or before the street lights come on, what have you. Then it was our opportunity to, you know, be that positive light in their life, no matter what. Even if they were leaving us and going home to a circumstance, it was to instill hope, because we believe that, you know, we may have not had all those opportunities as, you know, young people, but we're definitely able to learn from our mistakes and extend those opportunities to today's youth.
And as we gathered and started, you know, discussing like how can we take this to the next level, we called in a few stakeholders and administrators from the school district and business owners, and, you know, genuinely people, you know, want to draw out a plan or a strategic plan or a 5-year plan, and we can do this in 2 years, and we can do this. And while we were sitting there talking about our plan, 2 young men lost their life on Old 6th Ave. And me and Jennifer Livingston, we said that we can no longer sit here and hold meetings while young people are losing their lives. And so we went and met with Patrick at the Boys and Girls Club, and we said, hey, we got a team. We just need a space.
Need a space, that's
and
it.
You know, that's when Team Hero became partners with now the Boys and Girls Club. And so we used that space, and at any given, on any given Tuesday, you could have from 30 to maybe 45 young people off the streets in the Boys and Girls Club, learning about character, talking about leadership, learning about, you know, prevention of domestic violence, learning about mental health. And so I think that that was one of like the greatest accomplishments was when we actually connected, you know, our organization with a more established organization.
Yeah,
and they were able to give us like this umbrella so that we can kind of, you know, move under their shadow, and we just really blew up from there.
Yeah, you have a vision and nobody else knows your vision. It's hard to kind of move forward on a day-to-day basis with no one standing behind you. So all the supports and collaborations encourage us to keep in contact with these youth, to keep going with these youth, to keep extending the opportunities to them and their families. We want to just let them know and frequently give them the message of don't give up, just keep going. Obstacles are gonna come, trials are gonna come, but resilience, bouncing back and being able to move forward is, you know, what counts, you know, not staying down in that place. You know, we try to let them know that they don't have to be another statistic.
Leaders like Kirsten Keith, Senior Staff Attorney of Empire Justice Center, together with our HOPP partners, provide essential services to homeowners facing foreclosure and eviction. TRIP and RCHR are proud to acknowledge Kirsten as this year's community partner in homeownership preservation.
So I grew up in Rensselaer County, outside of Troy and Brunswick, and I had gone to law school down in Philadelphia, and it's in Philadelphia where I started doing foreclosure prevention. So in 2003, an opportunity came up actually through the Affordable Housing Partnership to move back to the Capital Region, and there was a job available with the Empire Justice Center. And so immediately I had a very good, close relationship with the housing counseling agencies in the area, including TRIP and Troy. HOPP really started in 2012, but I love to go back to 2008. And HOPP, the precursor to HOPP was a foreclosure prevention services program through New York State Homes and Community Renewal. And actually, I worked very closely with TRIP, and specifically Hillary Lamashaw at TRIP. And Hillary was the first one who really put out the idea that we needed dedicated services for foreclosure prevention. We were in firm agreement that housing counseling agencies should be working in close partnership with the legal services programs to provide really comprehensive services for homeowners in default and foreclosure. So Home Save was established before I came to the area, but it's really, a dedicated group of housing counseling and legal service providers who have been trying to figure out for almost 20 years, how to best serve and provide services to homeowners in default and foreclosure on their mortgages. It now is comprised of 90 housing counseling and legal services programs statewide. So it is a network. It runs on $20 million a year from the state, and there are services available in every county of the state. Generally across the state, the housing counseling agencies are working very closely in tandem with the legal services programs. So the goal is really to keep people in their homes and for the agencies to be working directly with mortgage servicers to help homeowners achieve some sort of workout so that they're not losing their home to foreclosure. HOPP has been going on for so long that now they are so well integrated with the courts, and the courts routinely will refer homeowners who may appear for the mandatory settlement conferences as part of their foreclosure. If they have not yet connected with the housing counselor or legal services program, the courts will automatically refer them to those services. A really dedicated and wonderful group of advocates around the state. It is difficult to dabble in foreclosure practice. It is a complicated area of the law, and there isn't one system or one program or process to help homeowners when they're in default. So it is a huge responsibility of the housing counseling agencies and the legal service providers to know all of the different options that all these different entities are offering to their individual clients. Prior to HOPP, prior to 2010 in the mortgage delinquency world, so we're really going back to the subprime mortgage lending crisis, it was a lot harder to help homeowners. One, we did not have the federal systems in place and programs. They were starting to be developed in the early 2000s, but we just didn't have the loss mitigation programs available to homeowners. And we also didn't have, back in the early 2000s, the strong consumer protections for homeowners in New York State. So in New York State, one of those protections that went into place around 2009 is a notice that has to be sent to all homeowners who are living in their, who are in foreclosure on their primary residence. And that notice is a notice saying, hey, you're behind on your mortgage. But it most importantly attaches a list of at least 5 housing counseling agencies with the contact information for those agencies or HOPP organizations that are in the geographic region of the homeowner. So a lot of homeowners, because of that notice, are getting early intervention and able to figure out what programs might be available to them. And then the second strongest consumer protection would be the mandatory settlement conferences. So for homeowners who are behind on their mortgages in New York State, they are very fortunate in that we do have very strong consumer protections. So they can get more information about HOPP at the New York State Office of the Attorney General's website. Starting around 2007, 2008, I really started to focus on policy and legislative advocacy around the foreclosure issue because it was a lot of time spent helping an individual save their house, but we just didn't have the protections. So I started working on a lot of the consumer protections with other advocates, of course, around the state advocating for stronger protections. And then we also have a number of other protections helping communities. So TRIP has always been at the forefront of the vacant and abandoned building property issue in Rensselaer County, certainly. I like to think of myself as tenacious. I feel like I've definitely been very tenacious over the years in making sure this network of direct service providers continues to get funding from the state so that homeowners can have the assistance that they need.